Hey, good morning, guys. Welcome back to the channel. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Um, I'm real close to 500 subscribers, and man, that's really quite impressive for me. I mean, I'm just a very un-tech savvy or a non-tech savvy guy. Um, I just started this little channel because I obviously enjoy guns and a lot of stuff. My wife runs me off if I start talking to her, so I got to have somebody to talk to, guys. So I appreciate you guys listening, and I appreciate all the comments and just really kind of enjoying this. I don't know how much longer me and YouTube are going to be able to get along, though, and coexist. But, guys, I've got a Winchester Model 1300 today. Um, now, I've had this since I was a young guy, maybe teens. I had a Winchester Model 37A single shot shotgun. Grew up with that. Squirrel hunted for years with it. Lost it in a house fire. Um, and then for my birthday, Dad got me this probably in 1991. So I was probably 20 years old. But I was 20 or 21 when I got this. Had it a long time. This was so effective. I was such a lethal. I'm going to tell you this kind of little story here now. Of course, now it's all fact. It's all gospel. Um, I was such a lethal squirrel hunter back in the day. You know, I just punished them with my old single shot, which you can get really effective with a single shot. But when I got this pump action shotgun, it got to the point that where I would go out, and when I got so far into the woods, the squirrels would just start going to the highest trees they could find. They would jump out and kill themselves. They would just jump out and commit suicide because they know old Gator was going to drag them out of there. One way or the other, they was leaving there in Gator's bag. And, you know, it was a gloomy time for those squirrels back then. They said, boys, we've got no chance against this lethal hunter. So that's how it was. That's how it was back in the day. But this, you know, I've carried this gun in the woods. This is a 28-inch ventilated rear barrel. Um, the wood still looks great. Just really a really nice old shotgun. Um, they still make this platform today. I'm not sure it's called Winchester. It's like a SPX or SPT or something. I'm not for sure. I should have done my homework on that. I do know that you can still get this. Now, back in the day, everybody wanted a Remington 870. Um, and they was just great shotguns. But this has been just as effective. This has the rotating bolt. You can see it right there. This has the rotating bolt. My understanding that's because these are alloy receivers. And that bolt, as it goes into this chamber there, that rotates and locks it in still where it's all steel. Um, and I guess that's required in a alloy receiver. Um, but yeah, I flat out put the rounds through this. These have the wind choke system, and of course it's got a full choke in it because this is what I squirrel hunted with. Like I said, they're towards the latter part of my squirrel hunting career, though. I'd take 2 or 3 shells out and come back with 6 squirrels because they just commit suicide. They know their life was over when they saw old Gator walking into the woods. They knew it was over. But yeah, they made these. I think they started making these in the I don't know 80, 81 somewhere through there, and they made them up to maybe I'm not sure up into the early 2000s. I noticed this says on the barrel here. Well, here we go with these glasses again. Made in New Haven, Connecticut. But that place must be the shotgun capital of the world because I noticed the old single shots I've got. They all say the same thing. New Haven, Connecticut, and they're one of them's a Marlin, and they're not even Winchester. So I don't know. I'd like to go visit that place someday. Um, but Winchester was back in the day. You know, they had the Winchester Model 12, and they made it. I don't know the numbers, the years they made it forever. I know in 1964 I did see, or I remember that in 1964 was when things kind of changed for Winchester. Um, I think that's when they started using alloy receivers, and they started making. I'm not certain about that, but I know they started making efforts to produce a cheaper uh, shotgun. I guess labor costs. I guess just the cost of running the company had got. I guess it wasn't making enough money. So evidently the quality of Winchester probably went down some. That's maybe when. They made a Winchester Model 1200. And again, I don't know the years. I do know they started this 1300 in like 1981, I think. Um, and yeah, it's been a dandy. It has been a dandy. It's very smooth action, and it's a very light shotgun. That's what was appealing about these. Um, my first cousin, he had the Remington 870. Neither one of us had problems getting our bag full of squirrels. We went hunting, so you can make about anything work. Whatever you've got in life, if you apply yourself to it, you can usually make it work. That's just the way it is. And I always certainly made this Winchester work. Um, and then most of those, even after I got this, a lot of the guys I grew up with still had single shots. They had no problem getting their fill of squirrels either. It was a different time back then. It wasn't like it is now. I can walk outside right now. I live in a subdivision here, a small subdivision. There's only 9 houses, and each lot is over an acre, which I like. Well, most of them are. Mine's over an acre. I've got 2 lots actually. Um, but they squirrels, they'll run you over outside. You can walk out on a lawnmower and they're running through the yard. I mean, it's just amazing how many squirrels there are, and that's not a bad thing certainly. But it's just a different world. Nobody squirrel hunts anymore. Do you guys where you guys are from? Do people still squirrel hunt? Man, squirrel hunting was it. That was what we lived for up till we got old enough to start thinking about girls. And even then, um, just all the squirrel hunting we could possibly do. I remember when I got my hunting license, um, or my driver's license. So obviously I was 16 then. But I remember I was so happy to be able to go other places to squirrel hunt besides just right behind my house. I'd go down to a place called Lower Lost Creek and hunt with them boys down there. And that we sort of had a rivalry anyway. I always did playing basketball. It was just the Upper Creek boys and the Lower Creek boys. But we always got along for the most part. I mean, just silly stuff. But went down there and squirrel hunted with them. So I know into my late teens. Well, like I said, I got this when I was 20 and squirrel hunted then. So I mean, that's just what people did. When I was a kid growing up, I remember my dad and all my uncles and my grandpa. They would load up and go to Powell County and squirrel hunt. And man, that was just, I wanted to go so bad, but there was no way they was going to let me go. Um, they knew I'd kill more squirrels than them, and that I would embarrass and humiliate them. That's why they wouldn't let me go, but actually that's probably not true. Regardless, squirrel hunting was just such a great way to grow up as a young kid. Um, Squirrels are kind of hard to kill. This Kentucky here is filled with these big, huge white oaks. And you got to be able to reach out there. That's why a lot of people, you see videos of people from other places stuff. They'll squirrel hunt with a modified choke, and I mean, I'm sure that would work. But you get these big old tall trees, you got to that full choke makes enough difference to where it's just about required. Um, but anyway, just some stuff to kind of show off, I guess, on the channel this morning. I'm a fan of my old Winchester Model 1300. I remember growing up, they said these had they said that something here was plastic, is why they liked the Remington better. Now, I don't know where them boys had heard that at, and I've never researched into that. I bet you I haven't shot this gun. I am 52 years old. I bet you I've not shot this gun since I was 30. I bet you this gun has not been shot in 22 years. Now, it stays right here in my most obvious displayed spot. It has for forever. I take this thing down and clean it every so often and just wipe it over and kind of drool and slobber over it, rub around on it. I mean, this is just a fine piece of work right here. When I would go hunting with this gun, I love the slip-on butt connector butt pads. They're just so easy to use. You can't leave them on a wood gun like this. It does something to this finish. It draws the moisture out of it or makes it hold moisture and it'll discolor it. My dad told me that when I was young. Never did forget it. And I take care of my stuff, guys. That's something else that people should. I grew up very poor. I never had nothing, and really have been poor most of my life. I was working at least 70 hours a week when I was 18, and I've done that most of my life just because that's what you have to do to get stuff. Um, I've never stole anything, wouldn't have it. Can't stand a thief, just nothing lower. Horrible. There's no way I'm going to beat anybody or do anybody wrong. Um, that's just who I am. I can't, no way change that. I couldn't live with myself if I'd done anybody wrong. So the only way to get stuff, in my opinion, is to get out and work your butt off. And when you do that, you appreciate what you have. Um, Now, I can't speak for people that's got money or grew up with money. Um, as far as how they feel and their personalities, I don't know what causes that. I don't know if that's hereditary or what. So I could be completely wrong when I say that having to work for what you get makes you appreciate it more. But I do really believe that. Now, having said that, I do know people that grew up that their parents had money more so, certainly compared to us, and they did take care of their stuff. So, I don't know. I guess it's all just depends on your nature. But if you'll, my basic point is, if you'll take care of what you got, it'll take care of you. Um, Now, I drug this thing, as I said, through the woods of eastern Kentucky as a young man for years, many, many years, at least 10 straight squirrel hunt seasons. And it's very obvious I took care of this old shotgun. And now it's hanging here on my wall. And I remember back then thinking, the way it was always for centuries. A father grew up using something like this, and then he gave it to his son. I was the last generation that done this squirrel hunting. It ended with my generation, or certainly right after. My son, he has no interest in squirrel hunting. He wouldn't kill a squirrel. He would probably cry if somebody killed a squirrel in front of him. He's a good kid, good-hearted. Today's his birthday. He's 23 years old. Happy birthday, Sawyer. Um, but my point is, it's just how the world's changed. So growing up, I always imagined, or as a young man, I always imagined when my son was born, this would go on to him. And it will go on to him. But not the way I had thought about it when I was younger. Um, he just has no interest in squirrel hunting. He has taken an interest in firearms somewhat, though. Um, I actually got him a single shot shotgun. Matter of fact, you can see it right there. Right there, she says, that's his gun rack right there. That's his 3 guns. And I considered him getting him a pistol today. He's 23. He's old enough, and he's got a good head on his shoulders. But, I really haven't made that choice yet. It's something I'm really struggling with. It's a lot of responsibility to have a firearm, a pistol especially. So, haven't decided yet. That would be a good birthday present, though. But you got to be bigger than that. You got to do stuff for the right reason. So I don't know if I'm going to go that route or not. But he will end up with this for sure one day, and I imagine all my guns. Of course, my daughter, she'll have to have something. But yeah, I just wanted to do a little quick touch on this old Winchester Model 1300. If you was to see one of these, they're having a gun show. They had it yesterday and today at the Corbin Arena here in Kentucky, in Whitley County, Kentucky. I guess that's in Whitley County, or it might be, yeah, I'm pretty sure the Corbin Arena is in Whitley County. Corbin's in 3 counties. The city of Corbin's in 3 counties: Whitley, Knox, and Laurel. I'm not sure where that arena falls, but I'm almost positive it's Whitley. Regardless, it's on the Interstate 75 at exit 20. Let's see, it's exit 25, I think. Big gun show going on there today. If you could stop by, I'm sure those guys would appreciate it. My father has a booth there set up. That's all I got, I guess, guys. As always, I've got my old Taurus G3C right here close. Oh, actually, I've got a Ruger LCP fairly close. A few more things. This firearm has a safety in its own. We always talk about firearm safety, and I think that's a great thing. You can't overstress it. And to achieve that on most videos of things you see, and this is a good thing, to achieve that firearm safety, people just simply drop their mag, clear the chamber, and then safety check it 2 or 3 times. And that's the way to do it, because they're going to be handling the firearm for the review. This firearm's loaded. Um, I'm not doing a review on this firearm today. It's got one in the chamber. The safety is on. At this point, this firearm would fire. Or it won't. I'm not going to touch that trigger. You don't need to have your finger anywhere inside that trigger guard, unless you mean business. My point is, you can also safely handle a loaded gun. And more importantly, you have to learn how to handle safely a loaded firearm. If it's not loaded, it's not going to do you any good. And if you can't get comfortable with that, then you have to become one of these people that carries a firearm without one in the chamber. Now, if you got a revolver, a wheel gun, that's another whole can of worms. But some people are not comfortable with a loaded gun. And that's fine. I'm not saying anything's right. I'm not saying anything's wrong. What is right is what works for you and you alone. I can't tell anybody that. I can tell you myself personally, I like to have a firearm loaded and one in the chamber. That's the only way it's going to be effective if someone attacks me. And there's very seldom chance that anybody's going to attack poor old Gator on a leash, unless it's my wife. Every so often, she wants to cause harm to me. And every so often also, especially when I've got my hood with my light on, for some reason or another, this seems to arouse her and turn her on. Sometimes she'll attack me in good ways, just when I wear this. I've got it on this morning. I may get attacked here anytime. I hope I do. That'd be awesome. When a woman attacks you like that, you've got to fight back. But anyway, we're getting out of hand here. It's Sunday, February the 12th, 2023. Guys, as always, let's have our country in our prayers. Oh man, it's in bad shape. About as divided as I could have imagined without being at war. This whole world's in bad shape. Politics dominate every aspect of our lives. We got to get involved, guys, in these politics. Let's be logical and rational. Hopefully we can vote on issues rather than personalities and things of that nature. The personalities of these people doesn't really bother me. I don't ever see them or hang out with them or go anywhere with them. The laws they push forward, they do affect me. So I'm an issues guy. I hope everybody else is. Everybody have a great day, guys. Going to do another video here in a little bit. But regardless, we'll see you then. Peace out, guys.